Norquist, the president of the Conservative Americans for Tax Reform. First, thank you both for being here.
Thank you, Rev.
Thank you.
Grover, you know, you and I have been on just about the opposite side of every political issue I could think of. It's almost funny to be on the same side with you and Senator Rand Paul and many Republicans. I even toured the country with Newt Gingrich for education. Why is this so important to you?
Well, I think it's extremely important because we should look at all things the government does and ask, are you helping or are you causing more problems? Can this be done less expensively to taxpayers and less expensively to the families of inmates, families of felons? When somebody's done with prison, they should be done with the punishment. You shouldn't be following them after and making it difficult or impossible for them to get work. We want people, when they're done paying their debt to society, to be able to work, to be able to get back together with their families and their communities. And right now, the present judicial system, the criminal justice system, does a great deal of damage. It does some important things. Some people should be in prison for a very long time. But not everybody in prison should be in prison, and not everybody in prison should be there for a long period of time.
Wade, why is this so important to you?
Well, Grover is absolutely right, Reverend Al. Our criminal justice system is inhumane, immoral, and in many ways a massive waste of taxpayer expenditures. We believe that the way in which our country incarcerates more individuals, as you pointed out, than any other industrialized nation on earth really speaks to the wrong-headed priorities of our federal government and state government in the way in which it handles criminal justice issues. Now, as Grover pointed out, there are many instances when the criminal justice system responds as it should. There are some individuals who need to be in prison for long periods of time. But having said that, we should evaluate the way in which our country applies its criminal justice laws to make sure that we're not taking people into prison who don't need to be there, that we're not keeping them longer than necessary, and then we're not spending more on incarcerating people than we are on the rehabilitation side of the criminal justice system. And so the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights has joined forces with groups like Americans for Taxpayers Reform to form a coalition on public safety. And it's a group that includes the ACLU and the Center for American Progress. It's funded as well by the Ford Foundation, but also by the Koch brothers. We have joined forces with conservative organizations like Grover's and Freedom Works and others to try to promote sound and rational policies.
Let me be clear so that viewers don't get confused. Grover, you're saying be tough on crime. You're not saying don't be tough on crime, but you're saying be smart about it. In fact, it's not just Hillary Clinton pushing this issue. Several of the 2016 GOP candidates are talking about prison reform as well. Listen to this.
Let's show compassion. Let's reform our criminal justice system.
The idea that we lock people up, throw them away, never give them a chance at redemption is not what America's about.
We should not live in a world of Les Miserables, where a young man finds his entire future taken away by excessive mandatory minimums.
Why, Grover, do you think we're hearing this from Republican candidates for the 2016 race?
Well, this has been building for some time. You have the Christian Fellowship, which has been out in the prisons, working with people and coming back and talking about some of the challenges that they've seen. The costs, the numbers of people being incarcerated have jumped over the last 20 years rather dramatically. And as we've seen some reforms in states like Texas, Governor Rick Perry's taking the leading role in getting some of the state laws changed to reduce mandatory minimums, make it easier to get people who should be out of prison out of prison. We've seen crime fall fast and faster in reforming states, and so locking people up and throwing away the key does not necessarily get you less crime and safer communities. You can keep safety, you can punish crime without some of these mandatory minimums, very long sentences that a number of laws have mandated. We can be smart in how we fight crime.
Wade, you know, pushing on that point, right now in the United States, 1 out of every 31 adults are either behind bars, on parole, or on probation. That's a lot of families directly affected by our prison system right now.
Absolutely. And many of those families, of course, are families of color. The system has had a disproportionately negative impact on African-American families and has destroyed many communities, not through intent, but because of the way in which our laws are carried out. You know, we had a breakthrough a few years ago, thanks to you and Grover and others who worked on this issue along with the Leadership Conference and the ACLU. And that was to change our crack and powder cocaine laws so that they were more equitable in how they were applied. President Obama signed the Fair Sentencing Act in 2010, and it made a huge impact on the prison population related to incarceration for cocaine use. We wanted to take the momentum which was generated by that breakthrough and apply it to areas of sentencing reform, to fair chance hiring, to make sure that when individuals return to their communities having served their time, they are not dogged by a continuous recognition that they serve time and therefore making it increasingly difficult for them to find legitimate work. And we want to make certain that our system is balanced, not that we ease up, but that we are smarter on crime than we've been in the past.
Well, I'm going to have to leave it there, Wade Henderson and Grover Norquist. This is a very positive step. I thank you both for coming on the show. I thank you, Grover, for coming on. Pigs are not flying and hell is not freezing over. We all can civilly believe in what we believe in, disagree, but also be adult enough to stand together on what we agree on. Thanks for coming, and we'll talk, I'm sure, in the future. We'll be right back.